Absolutely. Good, how are you?
All right. 6 o'clock. We will call the East Manatee Fire Commission meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Please be seated. Chief Whitehurst, I'm gonna pick your brain a little real quick because I'm new to this. We do have the addition to the agenda, so I will need to open public comments. Before I do that, do you wanna do a quick review for the board, go over the memo from Ms. Mooney, or?
Let's just go back.
How do we want
Let's go back to this movie.
This is.
I apologize. Ms. Mooney.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. For the record, Maggie Mooney, District Council. It's been a minute since I've been here last, but it's good to see everyone. Before you at the dais is a copy of a memo dated today that was authored by myself and one of my colleagues, Amy Farrington. And it is responding to a question about the use of recording devices and the use of live streaming with respect to the recording of these meetings. And so I kind of want to give an overview of the memo, explain where we land with respect to whether or not such recordings are allowable, whether or not they create a public record, and whether there's any liability associated to either the district or the individual. So that's kind of the outline of where we're going with this. To answer the first question, which is whether it's allowable, the Florida law does not have a statutory right. Nowhere in there do you find in the Sunshine Law a right to record audio or video. However, with that said, the case law and the Attorney General's opinions have unequivocally said that the public has a right to record audio or video. So there is this right that has been interpreted under the Sunshine Law. It's not in the statute, but there's a body of law that says, yes, you have to allow the public or individuals to record, okay? So we'll start with that premise that it's an allowable act in a public meeting. The next question is what happens when, does the board, does this governing body have an obligation to record meetings? We've talked about that before, and we've talked about it years ago, but just to refresh everybody's recollection, the Sunshine Law does not, nowhere in the Sunshine Law does it say you have to, as a governmental entity, record audio or video or live stream your meetings. It's not in there. And so that becomes a policy decision of the individual governments as to what they want to do. And some governments do record their meetings and some don't, but it's a decision of the board. Okay, so we get to the question of what happens if there's an individual member of the board who wants to record or live stream or audio record a meeting. Is that allowable? And we go back to that initial discussion, which is that yes, they have a right to, but if they do so and the board chooses not to have a district run recording, then by virtue of creating a record an audio, video, recording, or even some sort of record that you place on social media, that placement, that recording becomes a public record. And we then, evolve into a discussion of what is the obligation from a public records perspective, not a sunshine law perspective, but from a public records perspective with respect to whatever is recorded. And if an individual elected or appointed official chooses to record those meetings, those absolutely become a public record. And there is a duty and an obligation on that person to manage it, to maintain it, and to produce it if a request should ever come in. And if you can't do that, then there's individual liability and potentially liability to the district if that does not occur. So when we talk about liability to you all as individually elected officials, as well as to the appointed officials, there are principles in Florida law that provide for indemnification. And those principles of indemnification are both grounded in the common law coming all the way over from England, in which we never wanted to harm, we want to encourage public service. We want to encourage people to give back to their communities, to be elected officials. So the common law says, if people get sued in the course and scope of their duties, being an elected or appointed official, the government should indemnify them for it, so long as they're acting within the course and scope of their duties. So that's the case law. Florida statute came in and doubled down on those principles. And there's a statute that says essentially the same thing. If you're acting within the course and scope of your duties and you're abiding by the law, then you are entitled by statute, as well as by common law, to a right of indemnification and defense in the event of a loss. Why am I bringing up indemnification principles? Because when we're talking about a duty to maintain a record, and this goes to not just the live streaming or recording, this goes to text messages, that goes to personal emails, this goes to any records that you create in the course and scope of being a fire commissioner. You are duty bound to produce it if asked when it relates to district business. And if you don't, and if you can't, and if you knowingly and willingly and purposefully violate the law, you may be subjecting yourself to both civil liability that the district may not have to indemnify you for, as well as potential criminal liability, depending upon whether it was knowingly done or whether it was knowingly, intentionally, willfully done, or whether it was inadvertently done. And so that's the overview of the memo, and I did have a discussion with Commissioner Carlino about the practice and just caution that should be taken should he choose to continue to live stream or video or audio record these meetings. I anticipate he will want to talk to the board about that decision, at least based on the conversation we had. But at the end of the day, the decision of whether or not to record and maintain recordings of meetings is a policy decision. And I've said that 10 years ago. I'm going to continue to say that today. Some governments do it, some do not. It is up to you. Individually, if a person decides to do that on their own, they are assuming the role as a records custodian and any liability that may follow from it. I'm happy to answer questions. That's what I think I've given the Reader's Digest version of what this 3-page memo says. And as always, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Commissioner Carlino, I would say let's give you the floor now. Okay, and
All right. Thank you, Ms. Moody. So, first and foremost, I am for the United States Constitution and transparency in government. The First Amendment is what allows me to do this. And I'm doing it, number one, for transparency in government, so people can see what we do here and what's going on. And the other reason I'm doing it is just so people can see what's happening at our meetings. I've talked to employees that would like to be able to come to the station, but they can't because logistically they're on the other side of the district. Are we gonna pull them over here and move fire trucks around? No, that doesn't make sense. Now the employees can watch this at the different fire stations and see what's going on. So I wanna say hi to the employees out there that may be watching. Also, I talked to many, many constituents and say, hey, how do you feel about being able to watch what we're doing at the commission meeting instead of having to come on down and take time out of your dinner, get away from your family? Would you like to see it? Our county commission does it, and they're the biggest legislative body for Manatee County. Yeah, I would like to have that option to see what's going on. You know how many retired firefighters live in Manatee County? I got one in my neighborhood. He wants to watch it, but can he drive here? No. So that's the two reasons that I decided to do it. Do I want to do it? No. I want the fire district to take it over. Am I going to maintain the record? Absolutely. It's very easy to do. I have got on my YouTube channel 2 videos that are 10 years old. They've never gone anywhere. This is on my YouTube channel. And I think the maintenance on this is, I think it's 3 years. I'll find out. Do you know if it's 3 on electronic? I'm not sure, but I'll find out. But I know it's not 10.
For recorded meetings, it may
Recorded.
be longer.
Yeah.
Because again, once you, Commissioner, so once you do record a meeting, there is a Division of Library Services has a retention schedule based
Right.
upon how long you have to keep certain district or government records.
Yeah.
I do not know what the recording schedule is. We will have to look that up, and I'm happy to get that back to you.
Okay, thank you. And I dealt with this when I was the police chief at the airport. Most of them were 3 to 5 years. We had to keep stuff. And then at the end of it, you could get rid of it. Legal advice was, they always told us to get rid of it. You know, don't keep it longer than you have to. But I like keeping it forever. I like people to go back and see anything they want to see with what we're doing. So that's the reason. And I really would like you guys to consider taking it over and taking it off of me. If I have to maintain the record, I don't have a problem maintaining the record. Because I got one that, like I said, I got 2 that have been up there for 10 years. People can go see it. It's public. It's wide open. It's not restricted. Somebody wants to link to it, I'll give them the link. They can go watch it. And also, YouTube also transcribes it for the ADA, so you can actually see the transcript. I guess the software that does that. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's the reason. That's my explanation. And I really hope the board would. If you don't believe in the transparency, open government, that's fine. I'm not going to argue that with you. But if you want more people to have access, like I said, employees, constituents, people like that, please consider doing it for that reason, so they can find out what's going on here.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioners, before I move forward with y'all's comments, because this is new to agenda, I do need to open the meeting to public comment. So at this time, is there any public comment? I know you don't have to fill out a form because it's kind of a late addition, so.
I didn't sign. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please, Larry, go ahead.
I don't disagree with what Jim's saying about having the information, I guess, being transparent. What I do disagree with though is us as a fire district taking our fire district funds and applying it to whatever this may cost. I don't know what the cost is. I'm not sure what Jim's paying for it. I have no idea about the technology. That's only my reservation. I think as a fire taxpayer, I don't mind paying fire taxes for anything you guys are buying in the fire realm. But this sounds like another burden without any idea what it's going to tax the budget. That's all. Thank you.
Can I answer his question?
Sure.
To answer your question, it's costing me $0. It's that laptop right there. It's hosted on YouTube. So it took me 5 minutes to set it up. So it's going to be no.
For what the district's going to pay for if they take it over.
If they take it over, what I have, one of our portable computers, live stream it to YouTube. You could go to YouTube and Google any government meeting. There's a ton of them on YouTube, and that's why they put them there so people can watch them. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. That costs me absolutely nothing. So I anticipate, to answer your question, anticipate the cost to be close to almost nothing to do it. I know we have laptops around here.
Sorry. memory's not what it used to be. Okay. All right, with that being said, gentlemen, I will open the floor to you all. Well, first of all, is there any more public comment besides Larry? Nobody? Nothing? You? Okay. All right, we will close public comment. And I will open it up to the board for discussion to see how we want to proceed. I guess I do want to make clear the issue at hand, if there is a motion or something that has to take place, is does the board wish to take custody of, and please Maggie, correct me if I'm wrong, does the board wish to take custody of this public record or not? I think that, just to simplify it, is the question at hand. And with that being said, the floor is yours. Please.
Sure. So I just reading through some minutes from a couple years ago. I think it was my first meeting that was here, and we went through this process of talking about whether or not we wanted to record these meetings and what the cost and consequence would be to the fire department to do so. And I felt like that there was a difference between an individual putting something live stream on YouTube and a department having to make sure that the records are held and accountable. There's more cost involved in that. So I don't think it's just as much as a laptop, but if you want to talk about cost, I would say that the 3-page memo that was created and having an attorney at our meeting tonight to discuss this is already costing us money. So I would like to say that, we're spending money on this issue right now, and I'd like to stop spending money on the issue and get back to the real business of the fire department is what some of this is doing.
Understood. Yeah, the two dates I have from the previous discussion, we have October of 22, and that looks like the following meeting, November 21 of 22. So just brief history myself. Anyone else?
I just have one question. What was the vote on that? Do you remember?
I don't believe we voted because it was something we already weren't doing. So it was, Chief, please correct me if I'm wrong again, but I don't believe we needed to vote on it because we weren't doing it to begin with. So I think the thought was just stay status quo.
The subject came up in the prior meeting, like Commissioner Carlino, and they all directed me by vote to look into that process. The next meeting, though, the election occurred, so in the next meeting, Commissioner Barrett was now in the seat, but I didn't bring that information to y'all in that meeting, and we well discussed it at that time. And in your discussion, you chose not to make a change and move forward. But since there was not a change, there was no vote required to do that. It was to stay the same.
Yeah, it looks like there was some public comment from Mr. Lou back then saying does not support the extra expense that this would require. Skipping ahead. Chief Whitehurst broadcast monthly meeting to create public record that would have to be held for 2 years. In the end, official written minutes, so to be kept for a lifetime. I'm just trying to summarize. Broadcasting would be above and beyond what the law requires. He wanted to inform the board of this before looking further into estimated equipment costs and so on and so forth. Chief Whitehurst went over the advertising that we do for our meetings and how this meets the requirements. He said that we have included now working for people with special needs for meeting accommodations. This wasn't in our advertising before, but it is now. So again, 2 years ago. Yeah, and then I stated something to the effect of, was first brought up, I felt the intent was good. I didn't agree with televising the meetings, but thought maybe a link on the website would be a way to do this after hearing from legal and the added cost of the cloud data storage and getting a bigger server that would be needed. I didn't feel it was necessary unless the chief was getting lots of phone calls regarding this.
I just got one more question.
Please.
Ms. Moody,
Yes.
how many districts, municipalities do you represent?
I represent all of the fire districts in Manatee County, except for one, as their general counsel. I serve as a city attorney for the town of Longboat Key. I serve as a special magistrate for the city of Bradenton. I serve as district counsel to a couple fire districts in Lee County, library district in Lee County, several CDDs, about 3 of them right now. But my firm itself specializes in local government, and my law partners also represent other municipalities, including the city of Venice, down in Sarasota, Indian Shores and Bel Air Shores up in Pinellas County. And my law partner represents upwards of 40 CDDs. I can't even tell you which ones at this point, but local government is basically our bread and butter, if you will.
Out of all the fire districts, how many screen, record?
To the best of my recollection, and I have not been to all of those district meetings most recently. I know that West Manatee does. I know that Upper Captiva Fire District does.
But locally?
Locally, West Manatee is the only one I can tell you definitively does. I just haven't been to the other ones, the other meetings recently. I do not believe, actually, I know for a fact Cedar Hammock does not. I don't know what North River's doing right now. I can almost guarantee that Duet does not.
Yeah.
So I think it's, again, it's a decision of the board as to what the board is comfortable doing.
Gary, I tell you, Southern Manatee, I don't believe they live stream it, but they are recorded. And I only know this from attending the meetings. You hear the little robot lady, recording gets started, recording gets ended. But I believe it's just a recording that you can go back and watch after the fact. I don't think it's live. And I can't film it. Yes.
Would we, is there anything that you, in your opinion, that you believe, you think that we're not being transparent?
So transparency, it's a pretty broad term, and if the law required you to record audio, video, live stream, I would tell you that. The Sunshine Law is the transparency law, and it does not have that requirement as one of the elements. Its requirement is that you publicly notice your meetings, that you allow the public to attend them, and that you take minutes. That's the requirements of the Sunshine Law. It's 3 prongs. It does not say, and thou shalt record your meetings. Now, do a lot of governments do? Yes, I think, but it's not a requirement. Again, the only requirement is that you have minutes that reflect the actions of the board.
I believe our budget is in the newspaper, correct? When you That's transparency.
It's on our website.
And on the website, and, Chief, what else on our website?
Well, there's a whole slew of things that require, for special districts.
For transparency?
To comply with. You guys are on there, so that you can be contacted. Our agendas for the meetings prior to the meeting, our budgets after they're approved. So a whole list of those related items. And then there's been an additional change very recently where, I think it's a couple months ago, maybe last month, you all had to approve our goals and objectives. And so all of that's been added now as requirements on the website.
Chief, do we have the 5-year plan
Yes.
also is on there? We'll discuss that next week. Okay. Nick, anything? No. No? Okay. Well, to not hold up progress, we did the public comment already.
Well, point of order, you did a public comment for that item, you need to open public comments.
For the yes, for the regular meeting, correct. I'm just trying to move on from this edition, if, to keep the meeting going. I guess the next step would be, I would need a motion to for the district to assume the records responsibilities from Commissioner Carlino. And then obviously that would have to be seconded and you'd have to go through that step as well. With that need.
I think there's actually two things here. There's accepting the records from Commissioner Carlino, and then there's us actually doing the broadcast as a separate meeting.
Okay, so understood. So doing the recording and keeping the records would be two separate entities, not one. Okay.
I'm looking at me.
Yeah, clarification, I didn't get that.
I think you could do it two ways. I mean, I think the chief just outlined one way. So one is, is the district going to assume responsibility for recording it, which is a policy decision. And then with that comes the obligation to maintain it in whatever format works best for the district. The other option is the district could take possession in some way, shape, or form, working with Commissioner Carlino, of the video that's occurring right now in some way, shape, or form, in a medium that works again for the district. So there are, I think, two decisions that can be made. One is, does the district want to take on the responsibility of recording it using whatever technology the district finds is in the best interest of the district? Or two, does the district want to take over the responsibility for the recording that Commissioner Carlino is conducting?
I think it's interesting that the video is going now and we haven't even decided. Like, this is kind of like we backdoor this. It would have been better if we would have had a conversation about it before we started.
I don't look at it that way. I have a constitutional right to do this, and I believe in transparency. And for somebody that doesn't want to broadcast it, that's beyond me,
That's
why they want to want transparency. But I'll make the motion, and I'll do whatever you want. If you want me to keep those two recordings, I will. But I'll make the first motion, I guess that'll tell what we're gonna do. I'll make a motion that the district starts doing the recording.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor for the district to start recording meetings. Do I have a second? Ms. Moody, I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm new at this.
Yes.
I know as the chair on the tiebreaker, how long do I wait for a second before we not?
You can ask for a second, and if you don't receive one, then it dies for lack of a second to the motion. You don't have to wait.
There's not a time period,
Just
like 2
ask
minutes
for
or
it.
something? Okay.
Yep.
Again, forgive me, I'm new at this.
Nope.
Can I table my motion so they can have time to think about it and maybe talk with other people? Because I know it's emotional right now for some folks, I get that. So I can table it and we can revisit it later.
So Jim, what you would do is withdraw your motion, and then we
Yeah.
could table the subject and put it on the agenda for next month.
Absolutely, because I think once you talk to people, you might say, yeah, you know what, it's a good thing. I'm hoping I'll see that. So yeah, I'll withdraw it and I'll wait.
Okay. Motion withdrawn. And so I'm assuming that goes for both. Ms. Moody said there's 2 subjects.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then, again, please correct me if I'm wrong. The way I'm understanding it is this issue is tabled, or maybe next month, or another meeting.
Yeah.
And then with that, we can move on to the rest of the agenda items. Parts of it?
Yes.
All right. Table. All right. Moving right along. Back to public comment, and this will be for the remaining items on the agenda at this time. Don, did we have any paperwork for public comment for the agenda? No? Okay. With that, we'll close public comment. Gentlemen, you.
I was, yeah,
You may have had someone.
I was trying to,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, so we'll be open to public comment.
just real quick, since that's gonna be placed on the next agenda, and then in the discussion about talking to people and whatnot, if there was a way, and I'm sure it's gonna be the chief's responsibility, or maybe Paul's responsibility, to find out, again, what that cost would be, so we can make a good decision on what that be, cost the fire district to take it over, retain it, I don't know any of that stuff, that's all, thank you.
Chief has a comment.
Go ahead, chief.
That's what you had to do 2 years ago. Obviously, cost of change, technology change, so, look at that again, and now we pick Commissioner Carlino's, head, or Paul will have to, on that, so, because I'm sure the data that was collected 2 years ago is probably, valid.
Okay. And one thing, Chief, I'd like to add, Commissioner Carlino said something that he talked to employees that wanted to attend the meetings, but obviously because our district is so large, can't bring it in from IACA here, so forth. Would you object to asking the employees if they supported it as well?
Well, yeah, I can do that. 'Cause, you know, we have a bunch of employees over Station 1, and they're not here. And there's ability, they don't have the ability to come over unless there's, somebody itching to come over, and the battalion chiefs can do station swaps and things like that, so.
Right.
It's, I have to inquire as to whether that's.
If there's
Some
something,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
or not. Okay. All right. So we'll have myself on that. All right,
Figure that's where you're going.
gentlemen, you've all received your packets and had time to review the consent agenda. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. So,
Was that,
oh, yes, thank you, Don. Sorry. Public comment closed for the second time. Sorry, Larry. Going back to the consent agenda, we have a motion by Commissioner Lawson, a second by Mr. Barrett. Any further discussion? Anybody? No? Okay, at this time I will call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries for the consent agenda. Moving on to old business. Commissioner Lawson, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. New Station 11, tomorrow we have the punch list. We're gonna go through it at 9 a.m. sharp. One other thing I'd like to mention is the well that we were having problems with, that I spoke about last month, seem to be resolved. Casey, has been working diligently to, try to get things figured out, and I believe he has. We attended another meeting with Willis Smith, which, they're the contractor, but it was all on the well driller. And for whatever reason, they went down 400 some odd feet and didn't really get good water. They went down an additional, I can't remember, Chief, what was the total that they ended up with, you recall?
That was just shy of 500.
Just shy of 500, yeah.
Down.
So I think that did the trick. Has there been any other evidence of sand?
Not that I've been made aware of.
Yeah, I mean, Casey, I seen was here, and, yeah,
It didn't come up yesterday's staff meeting, and that's where I've been hearing the updates.
okay. Well, we just keep our fingers crossed, and of course, we still got a year guarantee. We got the rest of the year to see if it does, we start having problems with it, and we'll readdress it then. So, any questions, concerns? Okay. Would you like me to continue, please? Okay. Old Station 11, nothing to report. I know the county, after, they got the appraisal, they were looking at it, they were really interested in the property, and they notified us, let us know that. And because of Hurricane Milton, they've just been swamped. And so I think we should probably hear something within the next probably couple months on their next step. And
Holidays coming up too. So.
right, and I think I told you guys before that the sheriff was looking at it, to give a meeting place for his personnel and also to house their equipment. But I do know that the county is definitely interested for sure, because they are the ones that will actually do the purchase. Okay. Any questions?
I did inquire from Bob Goss where we were at with the splitting of that property. And he's waiting for the CO of the new building for that to occur. And then he's also working with Maggie's office on some easement language, I believe. So
And that, how about the split?
that's my point.
I couldn't hear when you first started talking. I missed that part.
Oh, that's the part I'm talking about, the splitting of the property.
Okay.
So, waiting for a CO on the new building and working these in language with Maggie's office for PDP forward, which the next step I guess would be a survey.
Okay.
He'll be there Saturday if you have any questions.
Any questions? The admin land offer, that's the parcel that is right next to us here. Is it a little over 4 acres, or is it exactly 4 acres?
It's around 4 acres. It's part of this large parcel. It's not parcel out yet, but it's roughly 4 acres. And it would have to eventually be surveyed.
Well, that is my next
that
question.
true number.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So-
usually done at closing, so, which can be on a potential buyer to do.
You guys have the next step, and that would be getting an appraisal on it in your packets. And you reviewed it, and we need to take action on that.
I'd like to make a motion that we get the parcel appraised.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Barrett for appraisal. Second by Commissioner Jacobs.
You want to use the same one we used as, for Station 11?
Same company?
Same appraisal company. Just use the same one?
appraisal.
Yeah. I'll do it. All right, any further discussion beyond that? I have a motion and a second. Call for the votes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion for the appraisal carries.
And the company that is interested is Casto.
Okay,
Just for the record, yeah. That's all I have.
thank you, sir. Chief Whitehurst, the mandated training for us?
So last month, I shot across your bow about the need for some of you anyway to still get your 4 hours in for the 4 existing seats. You get your 4 hours in for ethics training and so forth. And so I was directed to check with our attorney, have to be here tonight, to see what that would cost if she came in and conducted that training. And that is $1,000 for the board for 4 hours, which we would have to do as a workshop session somewhere around the middle of December. Or you can do the $79 online through FASD for those of you who need to still do that by the December 31st. And you'll still see our attorney conducting that training. You just can't ask her any questions.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I think it's important that we do ask questions. You know, I know you can go online and, you know, I wasn't really, you know, thinking that. I was looking more of the cost. But I know when the county's done it in the past, I know I went down and county chambers and, you know, it's a real positive experience to be able to interact, you know, with the ones teaching.
About 12 years ago, I believe, we had a ethics meeting. I think it was just after I became a commissioner, and it was very interesting. And there was a lot of people. There was people from other departments here that came in to be able to take the meeting also at the same time. I think it was well worth it.
You went to the one a couple of years ago that Maggie's firm conducted in Duet. And the same deal. It was their board, they had a workshop session, and there was a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think that the consensus is probably that we should do it personally. What do you think?
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. I'm not a fan of online classes. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline, to pay attention, and yeah.
James, what is your thoughts on that?
He doesn't have to go.
Oh, you don't have to go?
But if you want to go, you can.
Yeah, I teach online classes from online, but if the majority don't want to do it in person, I'll do that.
All right, well, then I would go ahead and make a motion that we do our class with Maggie in person in a workshop.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the in-person class. Any further discussion? All right, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
You should probably select some dates then.
Yes.
Gentlemen, calendars are here. And just to be clear for Commissioner Carlino, since you were just elected, you're not required until December next year. And it's every year, 4 hours every year.
So, Maggie, I think you said the week of the December 16th was best for you.
Yes. Let me go with that week.
We do have our regularly scheduled meeting on 12/16 next month, so
I could do December 16th. If that's, yes, I can.
okay.
What time?
Gentlemen, we'll have our regularly scheduled meeting at, obviously, at 6 o'clock. What, to make sure. No, it's a C-shift, so I'm good.
16th is a Monday.
Yes.
Sure.
And it is a full 4-hour class?
It is a full 4-hour class. The statute requires you to do an hour of public records law, an hour of sunshine law, and then 2 hours of ethics. In the past, when I've done these 4-hour classes, and I don't know what everybody's schedule looks like, I found that people like to do it around the lunch hour because at least it gives you something, kind of a nice little break in the middle. We'll just keep going through lunch, but at least it gives you that ability to kind of have a working lunch. Like I can talk, I don't need to eat, but I just mean feel like you're accomplishing something. So I'll throw that out there as an option. I actually am available all day. So whether you guys would rather it be in the morning or, kind of backing up to your meeting, I can do either. Or lunchtime, I'm free all day.
I may have to pick up my daughter from school, so personally, 10 to 2 or 9 in the morning. It's better for me, but obviously I'm not a person, so you guys tell me.
I'll do it.
10 to 2.
You want to have a break in between, so it's going to be,
That's pretty short.
maybe half hour break in between or something.
Well, that or we can kind of do like a working lunch.
Or we're
Break.
breaking lunch,
Yeah.
okay.
Bring in some snacks or things.
That's fine.
Something.
10 to 2, 11 to 3 would work best for staff. We have our weekly staff meetings in the morning. And then, next commission meeting is motions. So we have to open this whole room up, and that takes some time. So, like I said, if you did a 10 to 2:30 or 11 to 3:30, that would shoehorn perfectly between those two things. If you want to do it on Monday. You're not working longer that day?
I'm not. They have one meeting in December. It's the week before. So yes.
Amazing.
It's a
They didn't
magical
meet today,
unicorn date.
obviously, either.
No, it's a magical
Did
unicorn.
they not meet today?
Yeah, we did
I can tell.
10 to 2:30, that would work best for me. I understand we're cutting a little bit of your staff meeting time, but
Well,
I mean, I don't.
we can work with that. And we can always do our staff meetings like we had to do today for the promotional process on all the rooms, where we just all go teams. That's not our operational meeting. On the 15th.
Next one, January.
Next month is the 17th. The next one. So that is in post. The 10 to 2:30,
Yep.
lunch will be provided.
Sounds like a plan.
Now that Bob's not here, maybe we can finally have his lobster rolls.
Chief, we will need to notice it though.
Yes,
Notice that. Okay.
So we'll notice it as a workshop.
My calendar. Yes.
are good. All right, moving right along.
We voted on
Yes, we did. We just had to nail down dates. Chief Whitehurst, budget amendment?
Okay. Resolution 2502, fiscal year 24-25, amended budget number 1. A resolution of the East Mansfield Fire Rescue District, Manatee County, Florida, adopting proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25 and providing for an effective date. Whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners of the East Mansfield Fire Rescue District on September 17, 2024, adopted fiscal year 24-25 budget following a public meeting required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners for the East Mansfield Fire Rescue District on November 18, 2024, held a public meeting required by Florida Statute 200.065. And whereas the Board of Fire Commissioners for the East Mansfield Fire Rescue District set forth the appropriations and revenue estimate for the amended budget number 1 for fiscal year 24-25, the amount of $31,554,507.91. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Fire Commissioners of East Mansfield Fire Rescue District that 1, the amended budget number 1 for fiscal year 24-25 is adopted, and 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption, passed and duly adopted with the full president voting this 18th day of November 2024.
Just for the record, Chief, you said 31,554,000, it is 544.
I'm looking at, if I said 554, I'm reading 544.
Yep, okay.
So
It's
it's
been a long
record
day.
31,500, this is for dawn, $31,544,507.91.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, I'll go entertain a motion for the budget amendment.
So
Motion by Commissioner Barrett.
Also,
Second by Commissioner Jacobs. Any further discussion? Yeah, okay. I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chief Whitehurst, the MOUs.
So we have 4 memorandums of understanding, well, with 74. I guess if you treat it like a consent agenda, that if there's any one of those that you may not wish to approve, then we would need to do them individually. If you guys think you're good with all 4 of them, approve them all in one motion. But the 4 memorandums of understanding, one is related to Article 21, the vacation article, Article 36, pay time off article, Exhibit H, the standard medical evaluation checklist, and Exhibit I. Yeah, Exhibit I is the physical agility. The physical agility test. And those are the 4 MOUs before you. Did you guys have you vote? So you vote, you approve all 4 of them?
We had it, and they could vote on each one of them.
Oh, it started percentages. Okay.
No, it
It is.
Yes, sir.
And it's all good. Okay, so, today ended, the units, election for these 4. So as far as ratification goes. Tonight is up to the board for their side of ratification.
For a motion is on the floor, I would like to ask, do any of you want to pull a single MOU out for further discussion, or are we all good with one motion for all 4?
as long as I can ask a question.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask it now or wait for the motion is made, but it's just specifically towards the physical agility test.
Aye. No, we can discuss it now, and then based on your question, if we need to pull in.
The only question I had was, there was a change of the way that the structure of the physical agility test was done. And I think that it used to go out a window with a harness, and then now it's been changed to walking down the stairs afterwards. Just wanted to know the rationale behind the change.
Actually, Chief Hall, that was kind of his area of concern, operationally speaking, so you want to address that?
Sure. So one of the concerns was having to rig something to make sure that the firefighters were safe when they were coming back out onto the ladder and navigating out of the window. We felt like it would be in the best interest of the district to make sure they were tethered to some sort of tension line while they were navigating down the ladder. In the event, God forbid, they slip because they're trying to rush, there's something there where they're belayed essentially to break their fall. So having discussed that with staff, everybody, and with the union, everybody kind of agreed that to avoid having to rig up any sort of rope system to navigate them coming back out onto the ladder, it's a lot easier just to have them go down the stairwell, which, keep in mind, the intent of this was in conjunction with a return to work application as well. And so really, it didn't impact that stance as far as what the intentions of this was for. So that's why the decision was made to have them come down the stairwell.
Can add to that, Commissioner Barrett, setting up that rope system for each person, especially with a department of this size. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Hall, but it's a logistical nightmare. You've only got so many harnesses that you've got to fit with their bunker gear, get them tied in, out. I would imagine it's just going to add a lot of unnecessary time to the agility test.
It did add time to it.
Yeah. So that's a lot.
Makes sense.
When we originally set this up, it wasn't to have a tethering system. But after a few people went through it, and there was some like, whoops, that doesn't, it just did not look very safe for some folks anyway, coming out of the ladder, fully packed out with that size of a window to come back down. So the safety committee take that one up, I believe. And anyway, it was decided to tether them on this first round. And it was really the only, I guess, hiccup in our, because we only have done this for 1 year. When we feed in labor management design in the first place. And that was really the only hiccup that we felt like we needed to resolve. If a person wanted to practice this, they couldn't do it without having at least a couple of units out there with the proper ropes and everything to do that. So, someone was wanting, because it's used, for the return to work. So someone, as you know, Rob Day was our first person to test this, and he was out there practicing it. So you're having to set all that up for him to practice. It was a lot of effort just for that one piece of it. So this allowed it where it's going to be not as manpower intensive for someone to go out there and practice and then back.
Makes sense. I mean, safety and everything, just didn't want anybody to lose any skills because they're still gonna have to come out of the window on the ladder at some point.
That's true.
Yeah. But this is an agility test, it's not a skills test.
Yes.
So, sorry for the interruption.
No interruption. Questions are good. Okay, so are you good then? If we do a motion for all four? Okay. Gentlemen, I will entertain a motion to approve all the MOUs. And
So moved.
okay, motion from Commissioner Lawson. You got a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Jacobs. Any further discussion? Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioners' comments. Jim, we'll start with you since you're new.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it's absolutely fantastic to be back. And I want to thank Larry Lou. We both ran good, clean campaigns. It was a pleasure running on the ticket. You, very honorable person to run against. I want to say that. Highly qualified. And Larry and I's race had a gigantic turnout. A lot. Was one of the biggest district races in the county. I'm a numbers guy. I like looking at numbers. So a lot of people came out and voted in our race. Just a ton of them. And with that said, I know you talk to a lot of people because I watched your Facebook and I talked to a lot of people. And I really think until you are in an election where you have an opponent, you really don't get out there and talk to a lot of people. Because when you go unopposed, you don't have to do anything, right? And most of the time we're unopposed. But we both were going against each other. So I talked to a ton of people to see what they wanted and with their fire department. And I told them my thoughts, what I wanted to do. And I came away with 3 things that constituents wanted. And I'll just be quick and I'll talk about the biggest one. And I'm going to be pushing for it. The biggest one is when I tell them we do not have ALS on our fire trucks to give them the highest level of service. When our trucks show up, they say, what? That's my biggest thing. My biggest thing. So with that said, I'm working with Chief Wren right now. I'm pulling data. He's working with me. We're pulling data where I'm going to do a study and I'm going to look at past 2 years when I was gone. How many heart attack calls did we respond to? That's what I want to know. That's what we're working on pulling. And we're putting in some keywords there so we can pull those reports. And we can gather all that data and query it. And then once we get that, I'm going to find out how long were we on the scene providing BLS, not ALS, before the county ambulance showed up, which was able to provide ALS and get them to the hospital as quickly as possible. Because we know from hearing from Dr. Avila that he says the best outcome is getting the person to the hospital as fast as possible. And another fire chief stood up at that meeting and said, that's true, but if you can start the protocols right away, they're going to get to the hospital faster. So I'm going to show that correlation there. And then my final step is, and this one's painful to me. I'm going to have to look and see how many of those people died. Okay? And then that's my study. All right? And I already know in my heart we need it. So that's going to be the big thing that I'm pulling for. And I hope I can win you guys over to get it sooner than later. And I'll tell you right now, I'm really happy. I hope we get $1 million for that piece of land. Because we don't have that money earmarked for anything that I know of. That would more than pay to get our ALS program up and running. Not later, not now. Now, not later. So that's my number one thing that I wasn't going to run until that really hit me hard. Somebody having less of a chance at living because we're not able to provide ALS service to get those protocols up and running before the ambulance gets there. So that's it. I got a couple other priorities, that I've talked about people, we'll talk about them now. But I just feel so empowered because we had a ton of people came out and voted in Larry and I's race. I mean, a ton. It was big. So it's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to working with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
This time.
Welcome back, Commissioner Carlino.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess this is the last time we'll be together before Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and hope that you and your families are safe and you enjoy your time together.
Mr. Carlino, one thing that ALS isn't the total answer. The total answer is get more ambulances throughout the county. The county that I'm from every one of our fire stations had an ambulance in it, an ALS ambulance in it. Once they get on the scene, along with the fire people, they can put them in the ambulance and go. Sometimes you have to wait here a long time, maybe 15, 20 minutes to get an ambulance to the scene. So that doesn't get that injured or heart attack individual just having ALS into the hospital any faster.
I agree with you.
Guys, how many times have you done CPR on individual?
How many?
Yes,
Last time I did it was 2.5 years ago when the guy got hit by lightning on the roof of the complex. I was living in. Went up there on the ladder and helped give him CPR, but he was too far gone. But you couldn't start ALS procedures on that roof until the ambulance showed up. And according to the fire chief, well, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but I have what you said, an ambulance in each fire station. I have a solution for that, but that's a whole bigger nut to crack. But I agree with you. I'd like to have an ambulance there.
because I've probably done over 40, 50 CPR on people.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Okay, yeah. Let's go down that hole.
Yeah, we can talk forever about it.
Yes. It'll be a whole other
Yeah,
meeting.
we'll save it.
I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Yes, we won't see each other again. Be safe. Make sure the crew's working that day, get lots of rest. Sometimes holidays are busy, and then sometimes, they can be not so busy. And then, Chief, I was looking for something in your chief's report this month when I having a brain fart. I want to say it was last month. There was some recognition to some of our firefighters for a couple things, and forgive me, I just can't remember what they were. I'm having a brain fart.
Are you talking about the Congressional Fire and EMS Awards from Buchanan?
No, it wasn't that. Maybe it was a letter from a citizen in the last month's chief's report.
Also from St. Pete, Fire Chief.
For sending our personnel.
Maybe that's what it was. Okay, I just wanted to.
Yes, I do have a bunch of things. I may have left that out. It's just an attachment, so I'll throw that together. And quite a few things.
I just want to say thanks to our personnel for doing a great job. The last couple storms, I know, weren't easy, especially when we were faced with a direct hit. And I know I can speak for myself. I was nervous Nelly chewing my nails off. When I get off shift, am I gonna have a house to come home to? So, and that's kind of one of the reasons I brought up last month that I want to get some supplies, not for the union local, not for other departments, for our people. So if, God forbid, we have another storm, we can go patch up your own homes. Because I think it's unfair to, we're not going to get, and I'm just being honest, we're not going to get 100% out of you guys if your brain's somewhere else, right? Your mind's, you're worried about your family, your house, your pets. You're going to be much better public servants if we have those supplies stored somewhere on premises that we can get together, board up windows, patch a roof, whatever the case may be, and then get you guys and girls back on the road. Your head's gonna be completely in the game. So, but I just want to say good job. That's all I have. Chief Whitehurst?
Yes, as I mentioned, next meeting, December 16th, we will have, assuming we will have several engineers and lieutenants. The process is occurring this week. It was actually, should have been tonight, but with the storm, our promotional process had to be delayed, so that moves it to the next commission meeting. So if you dress appropriately for that, but also importantly, is we have a couple of retirements. So Firefighter Briggs will be retiring, and finance manager, Pam Brown.
What?
So, yes, well, that's not a surprise, at least not to us.
I just didn't think it would be this quick.
It just came quick, so, so she'll be recognized in the next commission vote if they're here. I know she'll be here, she's already gave you that guarantee. To be recognized by you all in the next commission. This past weekend, I was honored to attend with 5 other of our folks, the Florida Fallen Firefighter Memorial Service. And this is where Ed Wadlinger, who passed away in 2017 from cancer, and now that that's being recognized as a line of duty death, the state did go back and consider that, as you know, approve that. This past weekend, that was the event where he was inducted along with 12 others into Florida Firefighters Fallen Memorial, Fallen Firefighter Memorial. And there was some things, and unfortunately, the family at the last minute couldn't be there due to some illness. So it was my honor to accept that on behalf of the family, along with Captain Bill, was one of the ones who was with us at that event. But there were some things that we were presented, a commemorative flag and a medallion that's minted, so it's got a number. All those are in the trophy case, I mentioned that, so on your way out, you can notice that. He also will be recognized next September at the IAFF's Fallen Firefighter Memorial in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they've already sent his medal. That's also in the trophy case as well. And Gary, I don't know when it is in Tallahassee. Whatever, I guess they're in session, but there's also the recognition at the Capitol.
I believe it's the same time we have King of the Hill game.
In January.
I'll let you know.
And so I already let Senator Boyd know about that, put it on his radar. We'll have to catch up to Representative Connell. But anyway, and the last thing is that we have our grand opening of Station 11 this Saturday, which you should have all received invitations for a second time. Because again, we had to move that because of the hurricane. But I have for you some gift bags that all of our employees that received. Hands on them, so take yours and pass it down. So in the gift bag, you have a t-shirt that you can wear to the event. Unfortunately, it was long sleeve. So, because apparently it's gonna be cold this Saturday. So you got some a long sleeve shirt in there and a challenge point for the event. Now granted, everything is dated October when the 23rd, when we're supposed to have the event. That's something we couldn't help. I guess that's actually a little backpack thing too. If there's an issue with the size, then let me know. I think there's only 2 sizes. We only have 2 sizes of those shirts. So Casey, unfortunately, he has all that. Let me know if it's the size of shirt.
I wanted to small.
No, Gary wants to see it. It's medium. Gary likes this.
It's all right, you can learn and somebody take it
Chief, something you said at the beginning, I'm sorry, something you said at the beginning about the promotions.
Yes.
So I heard you say that you and Chief Byrne were going to get with me to pick my brain about this broadcasting and the recording. I love it when we celebrate our people like that. I'm also, at that time, I'll show you how you can let tell them if you'd like to, how they can let their relatives know that are out of town and can't make it. They can watch and see them get promoted. So I'll share that with you, and I hope you would consider sharing that with them.
Yes.
I know they'd love to see it. People out of town especially. So we'll do that too when we get together. Just tell me when you want to meet. We can do that later.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
All right, anything else, gentlemen? We will call the meeting adjourned.
Yeah, those meeting dates too. Tomorrow is the council of governments meeting.
Yeah, Chief, left invitations for holiday parties.
I got it.
Each of you thinks, hey, if any of you want to go, please let them know.
So don't run off. We have a lot of things to say.
Should have brought your stamps. All right, well, Don, meeting adjourned at 7:16.
That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes.
Yes.
That's why you just have to stop. And that is-